we said, in the 10-year history of John Kropp Stadium, tickets going for some pretty high numbers on the secondary market today. 2,117 is the capacity. I suspect there may be a few more than that. Don't tell the fire marshals. And they're here because they want to see Oklahoma, as Rachel Lawson called them the greatest show in softball. Oklahoma has not lost since the World Series Champ Series last year, but you may recall Patty Gasso's team suffered its first loss of last season in the game you were doing, Smitty, an SEC midweek road game at Georgia. This is the Oklahoma lineup, and if you haven't seen Oklahoma since the World Series last year, you might feel like nothing's changed. It's basically the same group that dominated college softball last year. Alyssa Brito, a notable transfer from Oregon, and Alo and Jennings, once again, the big bats, the reigning first-team All-Americans in the middle for OU. Taylon Snow, a surprising leadoff hitter over the last couple of weekends, will begin the game for Oklahoma. The Sooners, the best lineup in softball, the best offense in softball once again. And Miranda Stoddard draws the opening assignment for Kentucky. And Snow wastes little time serving one foul down the left field side.
Stoddard's getting the start in the circle, and coach really was excited about her ability to throw a drop and a curve away from these right-handed power hitters of Oklahoma. That ERA little elevated at 2.7. The key is going to be, Kevin, for her to work ahead and to mix speeds. Keep that ball low in the zone, try to keep it in the park, allow her defense to work behind her.
Yeah, Rachel Lawson told us she may throw out a few different pitchers tonight. All hands possibly on deck, but Stoddard, the junior, gets the start. Snow, the nation's leader in batting average, with a ground ball to first. Gobbled up by the freshman Taylor Rebs, and a strong start for Stoddard.
It's a very aggressive Oklahoma team. They come out swinging first pitch. And that's one of the things that Stoddard's going to have to deal with. She has that great command. She works that drop ball and the curve ball. She mixes speed, so it's going to be running that pitch underneath the hands, like that one there to Jocelyn Alo, and then also trying to expand the zone and run it away.
Home plate umpires Jim Cooper today, Chris Neighbors, Shane Jackson, the crew. And here is the reigning National Player of the Year, Jocelyn Alo, with a blast to left field and another home run for the all-time home run queen. Ring out number 101 for Jocelyn Alo, who gives Oklahoma a flying start in Lexington.
And that is the reason why she is the most prolific power hitter in our game. She takes a pitch that is elevated, trying to get underneath her hand. She looks to her dugout like, let's get up, as she sees that ball leave the yard. It's the location of this. She's off the plate, and when that ball gets too much of the white, she easily peppers it over the left field fence.
5 consecutive games with a home run for Alo, as she continues to pace herself from the rest of the field. The rest of the field being the rest of history. Here's Tiare Jennings, and to Aaron Koppel at short. Good recovery by Stoddard after the home run from Alo. By the way, with that long ball, Jocelyn Alo continues to set records, and she's now broken a tie with Lauren Chamberlain for the most extra base hits in Oklahoma history, passing Lauren with number 146. Just when you think there are no worlds left to conquer for Jocelyn Alo, she goes and climbs Everest again.
She keeps finding them.
Here's Grace Lyons, cleanup hitter for OU, with a ball and a strike to the Oklahoma shortstop.
And ironically enough, most every record that she is breaking at Oklahoma will be LC.
That's right.
Chamberlain's.
Broke her home run record. Now the extra base record at OU as Lyons shoots one foul. Very good hitter who gets maybe a little overlooked sometimes by Jennings and Alo, but .439, 9 home runs, is third on the team. Second best slugging percentage in the lineup at .985 for the powerful senior. Another ground ball. Stoddard induces 3 ground balls in a mostly very good first. But you have to qualify it against Oklahoma when Jocelyn Alo continues to do this.
Alo going with home run number 101. Taking a picture of the left field fence. That's why she's the queen. Jocelyn Alo, 101.
And Oklahoma's got one of the great pitchers in the country. Jordy Bahl, the consensus #1 recruit in the nation. As much intensity as you will see in the circle. This freshman, the reigning Gatorade National Player of the Year out of the state of Nebraska. She'll face Kayla Kowalik to start. And Kowalik squares, pulls back, and takes a strike as number 98 gets one over on number 99.
Jordy Bahl is just a baller in the circle. She has that swagger. You can see the way that she roams around that circle. Her whip, her ERA, both significantly below 1. Just a lot of power, a lot of control.
Well, it's one heck of a matchup to start for Bahl, one of the great pitchers in the nation against one of the great batters in the nation. Kowalik, second in the nation in batting average last year, just a hair under 500 for the season. And Kowalik, who can power slap, who can bunt, who can hit for power, will take ball 2 at the head of this very good Kentucky lineup. One of the best in the SEC. Aaron Koffel supplying the power in the middle, and Stoddard, one of several two-way players for Rachel Lawson's bunch.
Yeah, this is a great Kentucky team. They lead the SEC in batting average at .361.
The growing legend of the freshman Jordy Bahl, who threw a no-hitter over the weekend in 5 innings against Iowa. Reigning Big 12 pitcher of the week, will throw at least 6 to Kowalik with a 2-2 count on the Kentucky captain.
Love the intensity. See the way she looks over, gets the sign. Very methodical with the way her pre-motion sets up.
The 6th pitch to Kowalik. And a little number to the left side. The shortstop Lions can't make the play in time. Kayla Kowalik with an infield single to kick off the Kentucky first.
This is why Kayla Kowalik is in that leadoff spot, because she can hit for average and she has great speed down the line. She reaches for a pitch that's off the plate, and she's going to punch that into the 5-6 hole. Lions, really good job of trying to make this close, a little bit off the dirt. Snow can't pick it at first, but that's the speed of Kowalik getting it done.
Kowalik with her 41st hit, 26 games. Her average up near 480 now, 482. And here's Lauren Johnson. 5th-year senior will bunt right back to Bahl. She'll go to second wildly. Took a bit of a risk there on a hot bunt, and the throw was wide. 2 on for Kentucky with nobody out.
Well, I like the thought. It's just the execution. As a pitcher, this is what you want to do. You want to go after that lead runner, and this is a bunt that's right back to her. The throw is just offline.
Patty Gasso told us they still felt like they had some things to clean up defensively, though they're always typically very good. And she'll want to clean that one up. An E1 against Bahl, no sacrifice. So Kennedy Sullivan also squares to bunt, and Sullivan misses strike 1.
And that's obviously a play that a lot of pitchers work on. Sometimes it's timing. Second baseman Tiari Jennings was making the cover at second base, and as a pitcher, sometimes that does throw you off a little bit. You're used to your shortstop potentially covering.
A bunt from Sullivan, bobbled by Bahl. Oh my goodness. An infield single, a couple of bunts, major pressure on the freshman pitcher, and Kentucky's loaded him up with nobody out.
And again, one of those situations where she's going to be first to this ball and just brings her head up, thinking a little bit too much about the next step, and so easy to do. A lot of English on this ball. You can see the high hop, and it just goes off the glove. And Kentucky, they run very well. You cannot bobble or they're going to beat it out.
So another error against ball, her second in a row, and Patty Gasso calls the infield together. Bases loaded, nobody out for Kentucky. They've got a chance to double the rest of Oklahoma's opponents in the first 2 innings. An unfathomable number. In 25 games, Oklahoma has allowed 0 runs in the first, 1 run in the second. That's not in the last week, Smitty. That's not in the last month. That's in the year.
It's unbelievable. And you know, Patty Gasso, she talks about how important it is for this team to be in pressure situations, to be challenged. Well, here it is. It's happening here in the bottom of the first inning at Kentucky.
And Erin Koffel, the Kentucky home run and RBI leader, awaits. Koffel takes one very high for ball 1. There's a pinch runner at first here. Vanessa Nesby for Sullivan, with Rachel Lossing sensing the moment. You may not have many of these against Jordy Ball. The All-SEC pick from a year ago, Koffel takes aim and hits a ground ball to short. Lions to the plate, and Oklahoma's got the first out.
Grace Lyons, one of the best shortstops in the nation, just so smooth, moves to the ball, great instincts, very calming presence out there. This ball's going to be hit right at her. Knows she's got to go home. That ball over to Elam, cuts down Kowalik.
Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year a season ago, Lions. Bases loaded, 1 out. Here's Stoddard. The Kentucky starting pitcher was fooled as ball went off speed to start her.
Oh, and ball for just a young freshman in the circle, has great movement at the top of the zone, but also a drop ball, which is something you want to use in this situation. And then the changeup, she can mix speeds.
Like that. Starting pitcher tonight, Stoddard, a great hitter as well with some major power. Second on the team in home run, slugging percentage. Just trying to put it in play here against Ball. And she will not. Jordy Ball with a rise ball for strike 3. And all of a sudden, Oklahoma's nearly out of the inning.
Well, what a great combination of pitchers. She starts Stoddard off with a changeup, then she goes with the rise ball, and then she elevates the rise ball again and gets Stoddard to swing through it. Really good pitch combination, picking up her first strikeout of the game.
Tatum Spangler to try and get something out of this inning for Kentucky. Senior center fielder. And Spangler attacks the first pitch. Kentucky is aggressive right now against Ball for strike 1. Only Spangler's 10th start of the year. 7 for 27. Does not have a walk. Has missed some time with a thumb issue.
Nice take by Spangler, that rise ball at the top of the zone. So easy to chase that high, especially in a pressure situation with the bases loaded.
Just saw her teammate Stoddard do just that in the previous at-bat. As Lindsey Elam, the 3-year captain, comes out to the circle. Well, Jordy Ball gets herself into a bases loaded, nobody out jam, and quite literally got herself into it with a couple of errors, one throwing, one fielding. Her legend has grown by the week, and if she gets out of this, you can tack on another seemingly tall tale, but it's all real, and it's almost a spectacular escape for Ball, who needs one more strike to put up another Oklahoma 0 in the first. A 1-2 for Spangler. Got her. Jordy Ball. Bases loaded, nobody out. No big deal.
Jordy Ball, the freshman, showing she can get into trouble, but hey, I can work out of trouble too. A couple of big strikeouts with the bases loaded.
A demoralizing feeling for Kentucky. I have the #1 team in the country on the ropes, bases loaded, nobody out, and nothing across in the first. Sooners have the lead. Jada Coleman batting against Miranda Stoddard, #5 hitter for OU, after Jordy Ball got herself into one heck of a pickle, and then oh so calmly wriggled free with a couple of strikeouts after a fielder's choice out at the plate. And here is the dazzling Jada Coleman, the All-American from a year ago, one of the most patient hitters in the country. Batting average at .358, but the OPS so high because she walks so much. 21 walks, only 6 strikeouts in 25 games.
Well, Kevin, to your point that you're almost describing the entire Oklahoma offense, right? That 135 walks coming into today's game to just 63 strikeouts. And that's one of the stats, the biggest stats that I look at offensively. As a team, do they walk more than they strike out?
Coleman with a slap to third base, and she'll easily beat it out. Throw from Lacatena, not close, and Jada Coleman with an infield single.
Ron, as you talked about, because she is patient, she gets the pitch that she wants. This one inside, she moves her body off the plate. The way that she can control herself, the bat control, uses the ground. Know that if she gets this high hop, forget it, she's going to get down the line with all that speed. Really nice at bat for Jada Coleman.
Another great showcase for one of the most exciting players in college ever since she stepped out of the field as a freshman last year. So Coleman at first, Lindsey Elam takes a strike from Stoddard. Elam has started now 10 consecutive games, which might not be a surprise when you look at her numbers, but Kinsey Hansen is the usual catcher for this team. Hansen, who pinch hit a few times last weekend, still dealing with a bruised knee, so she is not in the lineup today. And Penny Gasso's hope is that she can have Kinsey Hansen ready for Big 12 play, conference play for the Sooners beginning against Baylor this weekend. And when Lindsey Elam's been swinging it as well as she has, no big thing. Lindsey Elam with 3 home runs in a game against Iowa and Oklahoma City over the weekend. That's flared to right. Spangler is in right field now, and she makes the catch. Nesby stayed in the game after pinch running. She's in center. Spangler's in right. Riley Smith has been moved to the DP spot momentarily, and Kentucky has the first out. Okay, I think we're getting an explanation here. Jim Cooper saying to Rachel Lawson, I believe he said the runner left early at first base, if our mics picked that up correctly. So they're going to take the out at first base for Coleman and remove her speed from the equation.
So that's a new rule this year, that it's a delayed dead ball, and the defensive coach gets to decide which out do they want. And the reason that that rule change was made was so that if potentially the defense was able to turn a double play, they were allowed to be given the opportunity to take the double play versus being punished because the runner left early.
Seems like a pretty easy choice in this situation, I'd say.
Absolutely.
So Coleman leaves early. And Elam, who stays in there, will foul one away. So negate the flyout for Elam. Coleman will be out at first. And then scored 3 unassisted for leaving early. And Elam will stay in there with 1 out against Stoddard. Just a little extra batting practice for Lindsey Elam when you think of it.
Yeah, you almost have to thank your teammate. Like, all right, I get ups again. I get another opportunity.
That's right. Lindsey Elam, the lone captain on this Oklahoma roster, 3rd year as a captain. Patty Gasso raves about her and what she did last year when she was not playing full time because of the star power of Kinsey Hansen. Elam yanks one foul.
Well, Kevin, to your point, I mean, think about the luxury that Patty Gasso has, that you're able to close call down in the Kentucky line dugout as that ball goes whizzing past him. But the luxury that Patty Gasso has when she's got so many amazing players on the bench that can come out. Elam just filling in for Hansen. She has the patience to be able to make sure that Hansen will be fully healed before she's back out there.
For all the things that Oklahoma does well, and they do basically everything well, the ability for Patty Gasso to make this such an egoless team, that's what impresses me the most. Alyssa Brito transferred over to this team from Oregon, and we'll see her in a little bit. She's played all over the field. That ball is hammered by Elam and long gone. You can take a little bit longer to rest up, Kinsey. Lindsey Elam is out here crushing balls, and it's 2-0 Sooners on a couple of solo homers.
This is an Oklahoma team with so much power. Your number 6 hitter comes up and she gets a pitch that's just a little bit too sweet, and Elam just elevates it out of the yard. She takes it from high to higher, and you could see it immediately, knowing that this ball off the bat was leaving that yard.
Number 8 for Lindsey Elam, the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week. Hit 4 home runs over the weekend. So Oklahoma now, we could literally spend the whole game just saying, wow, can you believe this Oklahoma stat? This is one of the crazier ones. Oklahoma's now hit 66 home runs. They have allowed 22 total runs. That's 3 times as many home runs hit as runs allowed, as Janet Johns rounds out to short for out number 2.
2 outs, right fielder, 0, Riley Boone.
So Kevin, it's the power, but it's also their average, their patience. I mean, they are just an offensive machine.
Riley Boone among that machine. And Boone will try to poke it and hit it foul. Not a player who was on the radar screen in a major way coming into the season, Riley Boone. But she's played quite well. .419 in limited time. Boone has been platooning with Alyssa Brito, with Mackenzie Donahue, who struggled a little bit in the corner outfield spots. It's a player who actually opened last season hitting leadoff for Oklahoma, and it wasn't so much that she wasn't performing well, it's that everybody else was hitting home runs all the time. But Boone does add a little bit of a different dimension, more of a slapper, quick player at the bottom of this lineup. That's a foul ball, or is it? Yes, it is. Kristen Zaleski signaled foul. the first base coach, and she was correct in this circumstance as Boone stays alive.
That's one, if you're Kentucky, you're hoping it does stay fair.
You need every break, every close play you can get against this machine. Boone to third and snared and off the glove of Ebbs. There's a great pick by Lakatena, and Ebbs could not handle the throw, so Boone will reach first.
Two freshmen on the corners for Kentucky. Lakatena does a good job to grab this ball. Floats it a little bit, but you could see the way Ebbs just did not see that ball all the way into her glove.
It'll be an E3 on the missed catch. Ebbs, who was involved in a scary collision at first base on Sunday for Kentucky, missed the ball there as the 9-hitter Alyssa Brito takes high.
And to your point, Kevin, it does make you wonder, if, you know, as the freshman in that very scary collision against Alabama and Dallas Goodnight, you know, if that was going through her head a little bit as that throw was sailing a little bit high and a little bit into the line.
Hard not to, you'd think, because 2 days later, thankfully both she and Goodnight were okay. It seems like this happens, unfortunately, once a year in Tuscaloosa, some big collision at first base. That's why Patrick Murphy, the Crimson Tide head coach, is such an advocate for the safety base over at first, which is an idea continuing to pick up steam in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of head coaches are in favor of it. The umpires are, but it's going to take the whole body of coaches within the NCAA to make that decision. And I think for the safety of the athletes, I think it would be the right decision. We use it in international play because the game is fast.
And getting faster.
Absolutely. Yeah, in softball, we've got that first baseman moving up, back, coming from all different directions, second baseman coming over. It's just a lot of congestion and traffic over there at first base.
Boone is there now after the missed catch error. And the batter is Brito, player who was an all Pac-12 pick at Oregon and came to Oklahoma even though she was the Oregon starting shortstop and Oklahoma had a starting shortstop. She's played all over the field. When we talk about Oklahoma being egoless, Alyssa Brito, when she entered the transfer portal, could have been the starting shortstop basically anywhere in the country, the way she fields, the way she hits. She came here and she's mainly played left field. Stoddard's 2-2. Out to right from Brito and out of play.
This Oklahoma team, very versatile, not just offensively. They've got a lot of different hitters that can hit in any spot 1 through 9, but defensively as well. Patty Gasso does a good job of really making sure that the team is well prepared, can play multiple positions.
Brito weakly hit. Blaine in time first from Abby Blaine in second. And while a lot of teams pale in comparison to Oklahoma, Kentucky's got a lot to be proud of in the last 15 years in this ultra-competitive SEC against the #1 strength of schedule 2 of the last 3 years. Rachel Lawson continues to build a winning program, and Kentucky once again looks like a legitimate contender for the Supers and maybe beyond. Taylor Ebbs leading off this inning for the Wildcats, and Ebbs lays down a bunt, and it is foul.
Well, Coach Lawson, she's not afraid to be challenged. She always wants her players to get out there. I think when Patty Gasso was looking for a game, she says, yes, please come, and knows that this is an opportunity for her club to face, obviously, the best offense in the country. She said this is the team, but what I love about Kentucky and what Coach Lawson does is there are 4 athletes in her lineup that are pitchers this evening. So she's not afraid to let her pitchers hit, to play defensive positions.
Stoddard starting. Tatum Spangler, who's in center field, she can pitch. Alexia Lakatena, who's at third base, can pitch as well. Saw her in the Olympics. And Kennedy Sullivan, the designated player, Kentucky's used 7 different pitchers this year. There's another strikeout for Ball. 3 in a row, all swinging, dating back to the first.
Ball does such a good job of controlling the upper part of the strike zone. Why? Because she releases that ball low. You throw that rise ball from low to high so you get the hitters to see that ball coming in, looking like it's your belt level, right through the zone, and before you know it, you're halfway through your swing and you realize that it's up at your eyes.
Emmy Blaine able to just get a piece of that one. It's ended up near her eyes. Kentucky's second baseman, who barely hit, just played the field the first couple of years. Much improved at the plate this year. Blaine over to second, and 2 quick ones for Jordy Ball. For Jordy Ball, a big role for her on a team that lost G. Juarez, who was dominant in the championship series, lost Shannon Sale, now a grad assistant. There were some holes to fill on the pitching staff, and Ball has filled that and more as a freshman. Patty Gasso told us she is like no other freshman I've ever seen in her organization and her ambitions. She's the strongest freshman pitcher physically I can remember having it. And I think it's an amazing thing to say, Smitty, because she's not 6'2". She's not Montana Fouts, but there's still a physicality about her.
Absolutely. It's her leg strength, the way she gets off of that pitching rubber out to that 8-foot circle. I mean, her numbers are staggering. Opponents are barely over $110 hitting against her. And the way she controls the zone, she is not afraid to go right at hitters. A lot of young pitchers will nibble at the strike zone and think, oh, you know, I'm in college ball. There's all these great, you know, bats that I'm throwing against, and not her. She's aggressive. She has that mindset that she will attack, and you can just see the way she roams around that circle. In fact, that's what Coach Gasso said. She looked like she was a tiger.
Just stalking around the cage. Riley Smith able to get a piece on 0-2.
And to your point about her strength, she is very strong. She works hard in the weight room. She gets up early to finish her studies so that she can have an evening off. I mean, she just has that mindset of making sure she's 100% prepared so that she can be mentally, physically, emotionally ready to be at her best.
And Ball has been at her best tonight. A 10-pitch inning and 4 strikeouts in the last 5 batters faced. And then Stanford pulled out of the game. Rachel Lawson was texting with Patty Gasso. Patty was trying to find a midweek game. And here it is, a perfect alchemy. Oklahoma and Kentucky each getting some great competition. Kentucky right at the start of SEC play, and Oklahoma right before the start of Big 12 play. These two teams that will soon be conference rivals when Oklahoma goes to the SEC.
And I love that Kentucky has such a great crowd out tonight. Sellout. And it's what all of these athletes for Kentucky they deserve. I mean, this is a program that has been on the ups, as you mentioned earlier, the last 15 years that Coach Lawson has been here.
Rachel Lawson told us, if you're a softball fan, either you're going to see an upset or you're going to see the greatest show in the country. Why wouldn't you come out? It is the first regular season sellout in history. First sellout since the 2013 SEC championship game. Snow, the leadoff hitter, flares one to Johnson and left. 1 out, nobody on, which is generally the time you want to face Jocelyn Alo, who with 1 out and nobody on did this in the first.
Oh, pitch trying to get underneath her hands, and this is where she hits 70% of her home runs. She hits those to the center left field side of the field, so she can get around pitches on the outside corner, but she's quick to the inside. 101 home runs in 231 games.
We have to hire an extra graphics person for Oklahoma games because Jocelyn Alo's numbers changed so quickly. Broke the record 10 days ago. It took her a little while to get to 96 because teams walked her so much in the preceding games. Previous 8 games before the record-breaking home run, Alo was walked 16 times. 2 walks per game, and then in their last game at Hawaii, her home state, just really down the road from her childhood house, hit the record breaker. And the stadium absolutely erupted. Oklahoma fans, Hawaii fans alike, and a lot of family and friends. Jocelyn, who is from Hawaii, moved to the mainland to pursue this softball career. It's taken her to incredible places. Right now it's going to take her to first as Alo walks for the 27th time this year.
Number 23, Tiara Jennings.
Well, the first walk of the game handed out by Miranda Stoddard. Tiara Jennings grounded out her first time. Jennings, the reigning National Freshman of the Year, with a foul ball. Not many athletes, when in a bit of a slump, are hitting near 400, as Tiara Jennings is. 388, 529 on base. She's cooled off by her ridiculous standards only, and she's been dropped in the lineup. The demotion from first to third, the horror in that way. But Patty Gasso says the swing is still not quite where it needs to be, which is a pretty scary thing for Oklahoma opponents. That swing was where it needed to be as Jennings rips one in front of Johnson for a base hit.
Well, to your point, this is a Tiara Jennings who's still hitting 388. And in a lot of clubs, that would be one of the top hitters. There's nothing wrong with this swing at all. You know, the question really was, is it technical or tactical? And technically, if there was an issue, as Oklahoma said, they would fix it. They would do something. They think it's more tactical. It's the pressure. It's that sophomore season after having a big freshman year.
Patty Gasso said to us when we asked her, where do you feel like your team's at right now? She said, I keep ranking us as 6 out of 10, and they don't like that. Oklahoma has won 21 of 25 games by run rule, and yet Patty's standards are basically from here to the Milky Way, or I guess we're in the Milky Way, from here to the sun, let's just say. But she said the attention to detail, it's not quite there yet. A little bit of a new group this year. Not a level of complacency. It's a hungry team. It's just a team she feels like needed time after a pretty grueling offseason and obviously a long regular season last year. But they've still absolutely blasted one opponent after the next. I mean, 6 out of 10 when only 4 games have gone past 6 innings. The standards are higher at Oklahoma. The bar's been set as Oklahoma has run ruled all but 4 opponents this year.
Well, Patty instills that championship mindset. It's one of the mottos, just like Kentucky. They have their earn your blue and be the standard, their motto this year. You know, all of these clubs, to be successful year in and year out, these coaches understand that it's culture, it's family, it's community, it's your classwork.
Grace Lyons, who's been part of that community starting every game but one since her freshman year, trying to add to the total in the third, and Lyons stays alive against Stoddard on a 3-2. Oklahoma has swung the bat 31 times in the game. They've made contact with all 31 swings. Stoddard still does not have a swing and miss, but Lyons hooks this one foul and will do it again on 3-2. Eighth pitch to Grace. There will be a ninth.
Well, and that's what Oklahoma does so well. They get rid of pitches. So that's a nice pitch on the outside corner on a 3-2 count. Lyons is not going to take any chances on it, so she's just going to get rid of it. Well off the plate, looking for pitches that they can get around and through.
This one to shortstop. Kentucky will get one and no more as Koffel flips to Blaine. Otto to third, Lyons to first. Jennings out at second on the fielder's choice. Stoddard in search of her first scoreless inning after solo homers in the first two. Jada Coleman, her opponent. And a strike to start. What have you seen from Stoddard so far? What do you like about her game?
Well, I like that she's trying to work that low part of the zone. I'd like to see her mix speeds a little bit more. This is an Oklahoma team that has a lot of power. They see the ball very well. So, you know, sometimes when you're a changeup pitcher, you have a good changeup and you're not believing it, you think they see it or they're picking it, you still have to throw it. You throw it a little bit low. You don't always have to throw it for a strike. You just at some point need to use it to set up your other pitches.
Rachel Lawson told us that Stoddard has been working on her pitches up in the zone, changing speeds better than in the past, but has been more, to your point, in the same speed zone in this game.
Well, the pitch prior was 58 miles an hour, so she's trying to throw an off-speed drop ball. It's just a little bit fast. If she could drop that down to about 54, 55 miles an hour, get it a little bit lower, I think it's way more effective. That last pitch coming in the mid-60s, it's going to create a greater differential.
2-2. Coleman under the glove and under the glove of Koffel. A base hit for Coleman. The ball kicked in center by Nesby, and Lyons is cleanly to third. 2 hits for Jada Coleman, and Oklahoma scored in each of the first 3 innings.
Jada Coleman is just an RBI machine. This pitch is off the plate on the outside corner, but look at the length. Look at the way she goes out and gets that great command of that bat, her eye level, and just drives us right back up the middle, sharply hit. A little bit of a bobble in the outfield. Easily going to score. Alo, Lyons all the way to third.
For Coleman, RBI number 18. Has only struck out 6 times on the year, and her 2-strike approach continues to excel for OU. Here's Elam. First time up, Lindsey Elam did this.
Oh, Elam has been on a hot streak. Her last 4 at-bats, 4 home runs. Can't get much better than that. Just going yard.
Hit 3 in her 3 at-bats against Iowa a couple of days ago. Was named the Big 12 Player of the Week. Four home runs, knocked in 12 of the weekend. 5 games in Oklahoma City. The Sooners were run rule winners in all 5. A plum count for her. And on 2-0, Elam takes one low.
good pitch. There's a drop ball, 3-0 count.
Elam to center field. She did it again. 5 at-bats in a row with a home run. Lindsey Elam is volcanically hot right now. It's 6-0 Oklahoma.
Lindsey Elam, whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking, do not change it. This is a pitch on the outside corner. No hesitation, completely on time. You can see it immediately. She barrels this up, goes right back where the ball came from. This Oklahoma team just has so much coverage of the plate. You cannot hide on one side of the plate.
Absolutely outrageous. Lindsey Elam, who's only starting for the 14th time in 26 games, hit 3 home runs against Iowa. Well, you would think have a chance for a third tonight. And Oklahoma has put up 6 on Kentucky, which goes to the bullpen for Sullivan.
Importantly, mixed speeds, 7 base on balls on the year to 15 strikeouts. Kentucky team that has a lot of different arms. So Sullivan has that very good spin, and that's one of the things that Coach talks about. She'd rather have speed spin than pitch speed. She works high and low, but it's about mixing those speeds against a very tough Oklahoma team.
And up and in here, Janet Johns is hit. Johns, who has been one of the hit-by-pitch leaders in the nation in her time, aboard at first.
Now batting right fielder, 0, Riley Moon.
That's that screwball. She's going to try and get underneath the hands.
So Stoddard over to third. Spengler back at center, Smith and right. And Sullivan, who was the DP in the game, pitching and throwing a strike to Riley Boone. Kennedy Sullivan, transfer from Western Kentucky, who actually beat Kentucky in a game last year. And obviously Rachel Lawson and staff liked what they saw. Sullivan coming over for her senior year. Was an all-conference USA pick a season ago. And you talked about it, Smitty. So many great athletes on this team. Can pitch, can play the infield, can do a lot of different things, Kennedy Sullivan. Gets Boone to pop up. And end the inning. So Auburn was picked to finish 11th of 13. Kentucky in a tie for 7th. Both those teams are in the top 20 right now. Auburn 5-1, the walk-off win over South Carolina last night. And Kentucky 1-2 in the SEC. Lost the first 2 to Alabama and then rallied to beat the Crimson Tide 9-4 on Sunday. You don't see Alabama lose a lot of home games, let alone by 5 runs.
Especially with Montana Fouts, their ace in the circle.
Chased her in the 3rd inning in that game as Kowalik swings and misses. Strike 1 from Jordy Ball to Kayla Kowalik, who is having another one of those years for Kentucky. 531 on base, 40 hits and 25 starts. Added a 41st in the 1st inning tonight.
Just reads the field so well. She always talked about if she's going to be or get out, she wants to be a hard out every single time. She just has that mindset that if you're going to get me out, it's going to be a close play at first.
Anything can happen with Kowalik in the box. She is must-see TV on each and every at-bat. Lays down a bunt here. And he'll test ball again, and she is out by a hair at first.
Kowalik is just so sneaky quick. She looks like she's going to hit, but her hands are so fast. She gets down the line really quick. But Ball, trying to see if that's, oh, that is a close play over there at first base, but Ball kind of redeeming herself, saying, hey, I can pick up those bunts. I can make this play.
Now, there is going to be review in SEC games and conference games this year. Maybe in a conference game that's a play Kentucky wants to look at. Here it is an out, and it is an out in advance of Lauren Johnson. Fifth-year senior Johnson, who's got a hit in 21 of her first 25 this year. Her 224th career game today, 201st start. Actually a 5-year starter. Taking advantage of the extra year afforded by COVID year. And she is thrown out on a laser from Johns.
With 2 outs for Kentucky, your pitcher number 8, Kennedy Sullivan.
Ball off the end of the bat. Johnson gets down the line quickly, but Johns just rifles it over to Snow. Nice long stretch. I don't know. I don't think that's a 6 out of 10. Kevin, what do you think? I think Patty Gasso, maybe the team's hoping to be a 7 or 8 out of 10 after this. After some defensive work, okay, maybe the couple of errors will by Ball knocks it down in that first inning, but the recovery.
Knowing Patty, she's always going to find something to point out. As well as they've played defensively since those errors, she'll find something to point to.
Well, that's the way she keeps the team hungry. And, Coach Lawson does the same thing with Kentucky. I mean, these are programs that have been very successful at getting their athletes to buy in to their mottos, to buy into the culture, to earn their blue, as we spoke about earlier.
Two coaches that instilled greatness and have raised the level of expectations at their respective programs. Think about what Kentucky was before Rachel Lawson got here. Really one of the weaker programs in the power conferences, and now a perennial super regional team. Kennedy Sullivan on a 1-2, could not hold up. And another perfect inning for Ball. Shared a 6-0 lead after 3, and we're joined by the head coach, Patty Gasso. We talked to you yesterday, Patty. You said you felt like your team still had some details to shore up, some things off the field. You hope this would be the week to get it together. 6 runs in the first 3 innings. Are you seeing more of that?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way we're swinging the bat. We've been hot that way. It's just putting it all together. And you saw a tight pitcher early in the game, but once Jordy settled in, you could see that she's a great fielder. She really is. So the bump that we had, we managed. Run support to help show Jordy we got you. Looks good. We got some good momentum right now.
And Coach, what was the message to Jordy when she came off the field after that first inning?
It's more of like, we all know you're better than that, and it didn't hurt us. Nothing hurt us. So just let it play itself out. It did. Now it's over. Move on. Let it go. This is part of being a freshman. Everyone's gone through it. Just simple words like that. She's a competitor, so you saw her just kind of bounce back from that.
Patty Gasso, as ever, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Has bounced back in a big way, Jordy Ball. Since those 2 errors, has retired 9 in a row. Oklahoma has scored in every inning. 6-0, the Sooners, who have run ruled 21 of their 25 opponents. And they are in the driver's seat as we hit the middle innings.
Well, and I do love what Coach said. I mean, Jordy settled in, and since those 2 errors, she got the force at home, and then she's retired every batter that she's faced. So, good recovery. So now Kentucky's turn as well to try to pick up outs. Work the zone early, mix speeds, and let that defense play behind you.
Kennedy Sullivan got the final out of the 3rd against Brito, Snow, and Alo. 9-1-2 here in the 4th. And Brito takes a strike. It's not a Kentucky staff that relies on high velocity. It's not a high octane kind of group. 7 different pitchers, a lot of changing speeds, work low in the zone. They're still trying to find the consistency. Doesn't sound like Rachel Lawson wants to use 7 pitchers as the season goes on, try to maybe find a core group. And a night like this is a night that could be a separator. See what you get out of Sullivan. See what you get out of maybe somebody else against this Oklahoma lineup. Brito into the air in right center, opposite field for another Oklahoma blast. Alyssa Brito starting to heat up the last couple of weekends. She smacks the Sooners' 4th home run of the night and her 5th of the season.
Oklahoma is just so disciplined at working counts, getting into leverage counts, and then hitting the pitch that comes. So this is on the outside corner. She lets it travel deep, just drives it the opposite way. Every ball that they hit with authority and power. And that's why the ball leaves the yard. Brito in the number 9 spot, sending that out. Her 5th home run of the year.
It's a player who last season at Oregon hit 10. Already halfway there. And now Snow, the leadoff hitter, to take a strike.
Well, and Kevin, to your point earlier, one of the things that Coach Lawson really teaches her pitchers and the staff of 7 is that she really wants spin speed. And that spin speed trumps pitch speed. So she's not worried about having a pitcher out there that's going to throw 70 or 72 miles an hour. She wants really good rotation on the ball, late sharp break, but developing off-speed pitches that are going to create some vertical separation. And I think that's the one thing we haven't seen today for the Kentucky pitchers, is that they need a little bit more separation in their velocities.
This one grounded by Snow over to second for the first out. You mentioned this a little bit earlier, but for those that are just tuning in now, when you say separation and velocities, what's an ideal mix for you? Let's say if it's a pitcher who's throwing 65, 66.
So if you're throwing 65, 66 miles an hour, you want your off speed to be somewhere in the low 50s, and then you want your changeups to be somewhere in the mid 40s. So you've got to have separation between those 3 different speeds, or even if you just throw 2 speeds, which there's obviously nothing wrong with that.
Alo on a pitch up and in, took one off the elbow. Jocelyn Alo is hit with 1 out. Boy, it looked like that pitch somehow missed her front elbow with the guard and got her in the exposed right arm.
Well, Sullivan throws a screwball, and this pitch starting to come up and inside. You're right, and she gets the front arm out of the way, and it rides into that back arm. You can just hear it. Oof.
Alo with the thumbs up to Patty Gasso. She'll stay in.
Now batting second baseman number 53,
All smiles all the same, Jocelyn Alo. Such a lighthearted personality for such a big-time hitter, Jocelyn Alo. Great conversation with her on the 7 Innings podcast this past week, talking to our crew about breaking the home run record, doing it at home, doing it just down the road from where she grew up, chasing her dreams of softball stardom. Came to the mainland in California, and she was saying this to Holly and Beth and our entire crew on the show last Tuesday. There was a moment where she said to her dad, I don't know if I could do this. Kind of wondered if her dad had wasted their time, all the time he spent, all the sacrifices her family made to get her to California. And obviously those were all worth it now. Jennings into short right. Blaine and Smith are there. This ball keeps carrying into foul ground and eventually lands out of play.
Wind's really blowing in, and from center to right, ball just kept running away from the right side of the field. Looks like it's going to be a pop-up to second, and look at how far she goes. Well, it just shows to some of the home runs that have left the field have been going into that wind.
Right. All the more impressive cut through that. And you can hear it right now in our effects microphones. It is gusty. And there is some rain expected later in the night, but hopefully we're all clear of that here until the end of the game. Jennings up the middle and sneaks through. A second hit for Tiare Jennings.
Well, Tiare Jennings can do so much. She hits for average, she does hit for power. In fact, she's protecting Jocelyn Alo. If you think about it, typically you would put maybe the one that's struggling in front of Alo so she'll get more pitches. That is how good of a hitter that Tiare Jennings is and how much this Oklahoma team believes in her. She is protecting Alo, and how does she do it? She comes up with base hits. Power protecting power. Lee.
Grace Lyons, her first adversary. And there is the rise high from Harrison. Certainly a different look than the predominantly down in the zone angles from Stoddard and Sullivan. Lyons 0 for 2 tonight, a couple of ground balls. Pops this one up. Let's see if the wind takes this one. Blaine keeps coming and is able to track it down.
That's a good job by Blaine. That is not an easy ball to catch, especially when it's moving around. You know that it's going to continue to move to your left. Gets underneath of it, looks for the secondary play.
Here's Jada Coleman. Kentucky with Miko Harrison in the game at first base right now, and Izzy Harrison, the freshman on the mound. Kayla Kowalik will go to the circle. And when we asked Rachel Lawson about Kayla Kowalik and where she's gotten better this year, she did not start with her work at the plate, but her work behind it. The job she's done with a young pitching staff, handling a lot of pitchers, and you see her telling Harrison right now to settle down.
Well, it is amazing that she continues to have that batting average well over 400 with as much chaos as that she has to have. She's catching pens, she's working with 7 different pitchers. I mean, that's just great leadership, great athletic ability. And that's the nice mix of speed that we were talking about, that off speed coming in at about 52, 53 miles an hour, and that lower 50 mark. Working those hard pitches in the mid 60s, so at least you have that separation of velocity to try to get Oklahoma out on that front foot and take their power away.
And Coleman takes a close one for ball 2. Couple of 2-strike singles for Jada in the game. Oklahoma yet to swing and miss, yet to strike out. Izzy goes up and Jada goes with her.
Oklahoma's coverage of the zone is impressive. They reach pitches that are in the river off the plate. They will turn on anything in the river inside. Elevated pitches they get rid of.
Two. Alo and Jennings will be on the move on 3-2 with a couple of outs in the fourth. And Coleman sends one in the air to center, hanging up for Spangler. This high-level softball, it's such a breath of fresh air to see more and more crowds like this.
Right, an investment of all these institutions to make sure that they're building stadiums, they're funding the sports so that these student athletes have the opportunity to play in front of a crowd like this. And then the big Blue Nation to come out on a Tuesday evening to support their team. I love it.
Not just still heartbroken from the men's basketball team, lost to St. Peter's, not too heartbroken to come out and support the softball group. Everybody knows where the camera is. Everybody knows when the red light's on. Love that.
I love seeing all the little girls out there dreaming of someday wearing one of these uniforms.
A lot of future Wildcats in that crowd up on the berm. Aaron Koffel leading off in the fourth. 4-5-6 for Kentucky, trying to get back in it against Jordy Ball, who's allowed just one hit, committed a couple of errors, and has retired the last 9 with 5 strikeouts in that space. Koffel misses one low in the zone, off speed for Ball to pick up strike 2.
Good ball thrown, that rise ball in the mid to upper 60s and then drops. It looks like an off-speed drop in coming in at 53, 54 miles an hour. Comes right back to it.
How unusual is it for a true freshman to be this advanced, not just in mechanics, but in pitch selection and in changing of speeds?
Yeah, absolutely. She's well beyond her years. I mean, she was the #1 recruit coming out of high school, out of Nebraska, and very, very special. You can tell that she's got that pitching mindset. And also, Kevin, working with one of the best pitching coaches in the country, Coach Rocha, who played at Oklahoma herself. You know, when you have a pitching coach that can really help you master your speeds, your spins, your mechanics, it only just continues to elevate your game.
#1 pitching staff in the nation in terms of ERA, Oklahoma under Jen Rocha. Koffel chases a rise. 6 strikeouts now for Jordy Ball.
The ball just is long and aggressive. The rise ball, she gets out to that 8-foot circle, so that gives her a great angle. She gets that back arm down, and that rise ball comes in as it looking like it's going to be at your hip, and it just comes up through the zone. Really good tight rotation on that. 6th strikeout of the game.
Hall in the last 10 hitters as she misses to Stoddard.
Well, you mentioned that #1 ERA in the nation at a .71 coming in, the 226 strikeouts, 6 more here this evening. And when you're getting 55% of your outs via the strikeout from your pitching staff, that takes a little pressure off the defense. It's just the perfect formula. And, you know, a lot of times when you have a team that has an offense like Oklahoma, you're like, oh, that's like our 3rd pitcher, right? How many pitchers do you need? You know, 2+ is what I always say. That offense is like another pitcher in the pen for Oklahoma.
Now they've got 3 legitimate aces: Nicole May, Hope Troutwine. Troutwine's ERA is .17. We'll have 1 earned run on a year as Ball goes off speed again for a strike.
Well, Ball just gets long, aggressive. Look at her leg drive. This is where she's really getting out. You can see the way she just explodes out with that front foot. Gets long and is slightly paused or delayed, and that's what allows her to get so far out to that 8-foot circle and beyond. Because remember, the further you get out, it's kind of, Nolan Ryan used to do the same thing, right? He would get so far out in front that when you're releasing the ball closer to home plate, that's less distance that the pitch has to travel. So it just feels different when you're hitting. It just gets on you quicker.
The 5'8" right-handed ball with another strikeout. And it seems to be getting quicker and quicker right now for this Kentucky lineup.
Well, the game plan has definitely changed second time through the lineup. They're bringing out the off-speed drop, and you can just see the way she gets on top of this pitch and just releases it. It's got backward rotation as it's moving down in the zone, and when that ball is moving on multiple planes, so it's diving down and away from the right-handed hitters, as well as coming in about 15 miles an hour slower, makes a big difference.
This is what you've been talking about with Kentucky, right? You want to see a mixture of speeds, and that's where Ball is starting to excel deeper and deeper into the game.
Absolutely, and she sells that pitch. It looks like her other pitches are rise ball, and when you do that, when you create that separation with everything looking the same, it's very difficult to hit.
Pinch hitter for Kentucky, the senior Renee Abernathy. Abernathy with a first pitch attack. This ball is gone. A fair ball and a line drive shot that just snuck out of here in a heartbeat. The swing that Kentucky needed, and it comes off the bench for an Abernathy home run. Wildcats on the board in the fourth.
Well, pitch on the outside corner, and it's slightly elevated, and Abernathy is just going to go get it, catch it, drive it the opposite way, and with the velocity that ball throws at, all you have to do is catch it, barrel it up, and that makes it right over that left field fence. That is just the third home run that Ball has given up, and just the fifth extra base hit that Ball has given up.
It is 200 to the left field line here at John Kropp Stadium, and if it was 201, Renee Abernathy may have stopped at second. Boy, that is the swing that she's been looking for after a tough weekend at Alabama. She was 0 for 6 with a walk and 5 strikeouts in Tuscaloosa. Did not start the game today, and she's the kind of player that can change this Kentucky lineup if she starts to hit the way she hit last year.
Sometimes you just need that one swing, that one hit that wakes you up, that gives you that confidence.
Miko Harrison batting for the first time now. And Harrison rips one into center field. Back-to-back 2-out hits for Kentucky against Ball.
Starting to be aggressive, getting pitches that are slightly elevated. Really good job of just putting that barrel on the ball and driving it right back up the middle. And a lot of times you can tend to overthink things. As hitters, you start seeing and chasing pitches up in the zone. I like the adjustments that Kentucky's making right now.
Harrison just the third hit of her freshman year. Emmy Blaine swings through a first pitch strike. "16 swinging strikes induced by Ball tonight. Just 56 pitches to do that.
Jordy Ball is around the zone. I mean, that is one thing. If you watch every pitch that she throws, most all her pitches are competitive. They're not a foot outside. They're not diving into the hitters and they're having to move out of the way. I mean, she is competitively in and through the zone.
No walks, 7 strikeouts tonight. Blaine able to stay alive again on 0-2. Good job, Miami, to play spoiler here.
Yeah, and continuing to see that off-speed pitch and make contact on it, just get rid of it. As ball continues to throw it.
Five pitches, all strikes in this at-bat. Blaine's fouled off the last 3. And she takes this one for a first ball in the sequence. Third strikeout of the inning for Jordy Bahl. 8 in 4 innings for her. Oklahoma has been its usual dynamic self offensively, and here's Elam, who's homered now in her last 5 at-bats, dating back to the weekend against Iowa. 3 home runs in that game, 2 tonight. And ball 1 from Izzy Harrison.
I think Elam probably thinks a beach ball's being thrown up to her at this point in the last couple of games. When you're seeing the ball that big.
Five at-bats in a row with a home run. And Jocelyn Allis at 101 in college, and I'm not sure she has a 5 at-bat with a home run streak. She's got a 7-game streak in her career. Currently a 5-game streak right now. Elam has assaulted pitching the last couple of games, but Harrison gets ahead of her here.
When you think you have a player like Elam who's come off the bench to catch, hitting in the 6th spot and has 5 consecutive home run at bats, it's impressive.
Now, part-time starter who has been a major supplier of power for Oklahoma the last couple of games. Home run numbers have gone up every year of her 4 years. Average, on base, slugging have all gone up. The freshman Harrison to the senior Elam. And Lindsay skies one foul.
Harris with that lively arm, throws it that good velocity, mixes speeds, like her demeanor and composure.
And Elam goes down swinging. The first swing and miss induced by Kentucky pitching tonight, and it's Harrison to snap the 5 at-bat home run streak of Elam.
Harrison, that rise ball at the top of the zone, really good late sharp break, all set up by a changeup early in the count. Coach called her arm lively. I can see why. She's got that low rise and high rise.
Lively may have undersold it. Harrison's retired the first 3 she's faced. It's not a Kentucky staff with a lot of experience, period. Certainly not a lot of SEC experience. And if Izzy Harrison can pitch like this, Rachel Lawson has innings available, and she's waiting for somebody to take control and to take those innings. And maybe it'll be the true freshman Izzy Harrison.
And Harrison, the freshman, she's going to make those little freshman mistakes. Coach talks about the fact that she's very astute at seeing adjustments that the hitters make, or if they're moving off the plate, on the plate, relay that information in.
I love the story that Rachel Lawson told us about that thing that you mentioned, that ability to see adjustments. She said she was facing Alabama, saw a hitter back off the plate, and she threw it outside. And Rachel Lawson said, why'd you do that? That's what she wants you to do. And Izzy said, well, I noticed her backing off the plate, so I figured that's where I could throw it. And she said, look, most people don't notice that. So the fact that Izzy's even seeing it, she's ahead of the game in that respect. 4 up and 4 down for her here as Johns pops out to Blaine.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a learning lesson for Izzy. She said, well, a lot of times when hitters are off the plate, they're actually looking for something outside to step into. So it was a cute learning, teaching moment.
Always good to be aggressive and to be intuitive, though, and be able to peel that back rather than have to learn it. The basketball analogy that Rachel used with us. You'd rather be overshooting the rim than undershooting, because at least if you're overshooting the rim, you can pull back. At least you're aggressive. At least you're trying to make something happen. And her team has been aggressive this year for that 20-5 start.
Yeah, and I think what also is impressive for Kentucky is that, you know, coming into tonight's game, they were leading the SEC in batting average at .361. For quite a few years, Kentucky was not really known to be an offensive team. That has changed the last 4 to 5 years. They've really done a great job of always pitching well. But I think this year, if they can get that ERA a little bit lower, get the defense stronger behind them, and continue to hit, it'll pay dividends or reap dividends as the season continues.
I had to replace some big pieces this offseason. Mallory Payton, who had a great career. But they've certainly done that with great balance in the lineup. You mentioned the average, 361, 420 on base as a team. Izzy Harrison having trouble right now getting rid of Boone. Just fouled off a couple of 0-2 pitches. Riley Boone 0 for 2. And a bouncer foul.
This is where Oklahoma is still so strong. So even though as a hitter, you know, she's down 0-2, but continuing to battle foul off pitches, continuing to work the pitcher.
Only 4 strikeouts on the season for Boone, 49 plate appearances. But there's another. Here in the Southeastern Conference. Kentucky and Oklahoma on this Tuesday night non-conference matchup. Wildcats got their run of the 4th inning on a homer from Abernathy. Riley Smith then the top of the order for a 3rd time against Jordy Ball. 8 Ks for the freshman Ball tonight. 3 hits, 1 run allowed. Smith, a slap, and a base hit to lead off the Kentucky 5th.
Second time through the lineup, Kentucky making great Boone a really good job of taking that rise ball. So they're hitting it down, so they're making good adjustments, seeing the pitch up first off, secondly making sure it's in the zone, and then thirdly hitting the top of that ball and using the earth. So leadoff runner Smith getting on in that 9 spot to turn over the lineup with Koala coming up.
Kayla 1 for 2. Takes ball 1. Kentucky 3 for its last 4 after a 1 for 14 start. Kowalik had the first one. Now an 18-game hit streak for the All-American candidate. Ball 2.
And to me, that's the pitch that I think Jordy is losing a little bit. She looks a little tired. The hip is getting in the way early, that ball starts to squirt off to the side as a righty. It's going to be away from lefties into righties.
Kowalik to the left side. Another play that Lions has no chance at. Back-to-back slap singles to short. And the Wildcats have something brewing.
And again, that same adjustment. So ahead in a leverage count, 2-0. She knows that pitch is going to be a rise ball on the outside corner. She crosses over and barrels up the top of the ball, gets it over Jones' head. Grace Lyons in that 5-6 hole, just not a lot she can do with it. Kentucky starting to build some momentum.
Always, 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 when Kayla Kowalik is at bat, there is the potential for something thrilling. And tonight, it is a thrilling power slap. It is a couple of base hits. It's a 2-for-3 night for her. And as Rachel Lawson told us, Kentucky just needs to get into this thing one hit at a time.
Well, and that's why Kowalik is just so hard to defend. John, you know, she's got to respect the speed. Is she going to put a bunt down, right? So the third baseman for Oklahoma has to really try to figure out, where am I playing? And when you're playing up, then you're vulnerable to the ball hit down over the ground, over your head. So just really some great bat control by Kentucky here to try to get things rolling here in this 5th inning.
Batters Lauren Johnson reached on an error on a bunt back to ball and then grounded out to third. There's a good one from Jordy for strike 2. Not a high pitch count, but Oklahoma's run ruled so many teams that ball's season high in pitches is only 77. And she's within range of that.
Third time through the lineup now for Kentucky, starting to understand the pitches, the movement, the way the ball looks coming out of her hand, the angle of her body at release, especially on that rise ball. And that's the pitch there again, to me, when she starts looking like maybe she's a little bit tired. And it comes off out of the side of her hand, as that arm hits her hip. At the beginning of the game, we didn't see a lot of pitches that were really non-competitive or far outside the zone. We're starting to see a little bit more of those pop up here.
Ball recovers though, and Johnson went fishing for strike 3. 9th punch out for Jordy Bahl tonight.
When Bahl comes back after throwing a pitch that's non-competitive and outside, she comes back to that drop ball, use the outside corner. Johnson just swinging through a pitch that probably would have been another ball, evened up the count at 2-2, and that's where Jordy has been so aggressive. Look at that, 52 strikes to just 18 balls. You have to know what you're swinging at and not chase pitches outside of the zone. Very, very difficult to do.
9 strikeouts, no walks. She's thrown 18 balls to 20 hitters. Wildcats will pinch hit here in the 3 spot. Victoria Fregoso, who often comes up in an RBI opportunity. First pitch swing, and a strike on a foul ball. Fregoso, only 3 for 10 this year, but 1 home run, 4 RBIs out of those 3 hits. They trust her with runners on base.
So easy to be caught up in this moment as a pinch hitter, wanting to do at times too much, expand your zone, trying to have that discipline, swing at strikes.
Ball went out of the zone to get Johnson on 2 strikes, and she does so again here and gets Fregoso for strikeout number 10.
this is just the off-speed pitch. So Jordy Bahl does a great job of working from ahead, just going right at hitters. 0-2, I don't need to waste a pitch. I'm going to go with my off-speed low in the zone. And Victoria's just going to swing through that pitch. 10th strikeout of the game for Jordy Bahl.
And Kentucky 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight as Bahl gets ahead of Koffel. Just when you think Jordy Bahl might be starting to run into some trouble, the first 2 reach, a couple of non-competitive pitches, and then this freshman finds another gear.
She digs deep. You can tell she really pulls something out of that well when she needs to.
Koffel had the big moment in the game in her hands in the first inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. After the single and the 2 errors, had a ground ball to short, ended up as a fielder's choice at the plate. And then Bahl struck out the next 2 to get out of the inning unscathed. Koffel drives one in the air to left. This will stay in the park for Brito.
You know, it's funny because as a hitter, you know you got all of that, and it just stays in the yard, and it can be deflating at times. But yet you have to, for your confidence, win that victory and say, hey, okay, I don't know that I could have hit that ball any better. I just need we need the winds to shift for us.
Sometimes, you know, you golf at 9 in the morning, and then sometimes you go out with the group at 1 o'clock, and sometimes 4 hours later the wind picks up. And early in the game when Oklahoma was hitting fly balls, and this is not to take anything away from them, it just simply was not as windy. And Koffel hit hers at the wrong time of day. Could have made it a 3-run game. Instead, the lead stays at 6.
Yeah, absolutely. To your point in the first inning, you know, had she had hit that with the bases loaded instead of the ground ball to Grace Lyons, there's a chance that leaves the yard. That's a grand slam. But you know how it is. It's always the timing of the game and the way things play out.
Were you keen to that when you were pitching? Were you keen to what the wind was doing and what the conditions might be in terms of fly balls at a given moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially I was a rise ball pitcher when I was younger, and I would throw lower in the zone, but I didn't have a lot of other good stuff because I'd only been pitching 3 years when I went to college, and so I had to use everything to my advantage, and the wind was blowing in or blowing out.
Brito's going to fight the wind here, and Brito won. Alyssa Brito, in any conditions, is having herself a gargantuan night. 2 home runs out of the 9 spot.
So how powerful is this Oklahoma offense? They have multiple players with multiple home runs. Brito's going to get all into this ball. We just showed how windy it was, but the front foot is down, and this is what I love about this Oklahoma team is they're on time. They are never late. They are on time, and when they do that, they just have crushing power driving this ball out no matter what the conditions. 6th home run for Brito, 2nd of the night.
Brito and Elam each with multi-home run games for Oklahoma. Now 11 players have hit multiple home runs in a game, or 11 times it's happened for Oklahoma this year. Elam in back-to-back games.
Well, when your number 9 hitter goes yard twice, you just you know that, and you have multiple hitters on the bench that you could bring out and can hit home runs. Yep. This is just a very well-positioned Oklahoma team.
Just a crazy luxury to have Alyssa Brito on this team.
And I think the discussion even last year, Kevin, was this has got to be probably the strongest offensive team maybe in the history of NCAA softball. And then you look at this year's team, and could it be better than last year's team that won the national championship? A lot of experience back, some great new additions.
Do you think it could? I know we got a ways to go, but do you think it could?
I do think it could. Last year's team hit 2.68 home runs per game. This year's team is slightly under that by a smidge. Yeah.
Well, they were coming into tonight.
Exactly. Exactly. So maybe they've elevated it. Maybe they're tied with last year's team. But yeah, 161 home runs last year for Oklahoma. Can they beat that this year? Yeah, I think they can. And this is a club that knows how to swing it. JT Gasso does a great job. The technical standpoint, but also tactical, the way they approach every pitch. And it's not just every game or every at-bat, it's every pitch. And, Patty Gasso just has that mindset that, we're striving for perfection. We're obviously not going to be able to be perfect, but we're striving for that perfection. And as long as we keep working and striving and we're not complacent, great things are going to happen.
Taylor Snow looking for her first hit tonight. And she'll have to wait another pitch to get it. We barely mentioned Taylor Snow, and she's leading the world in batting average. 542 coming into the game, 596 on base percentage. A player who came from the SEC, began her career at Auburn. Patty Gasso said, I wanted her so badly out of high school, and finally got Taylor Snow to come over last year when she entered the transfer portal before the season. Snow chases a rise ball. Izzy Harrison, after the home run, comes back for her third strikeout.
This is what you always love to see from a freshman, responding after giving up a big hit. She comes right back. She gives up a home run to Brito, hitting .342, and then goes right after Snow, leading the country in batting average, and elevates it upstairs with the rise ball and picks up her third strikeout.
Now this is going to be fun. Alo, the all-time home run leader against Harrison. This hard-throwing freshman making a name for herself in Lexington. And Kowalik will head to the circle. Get a new softball first. Alo with 3 plate appearances. She has homered, she has walked, she has been hit by a pitch. Her on-base percentage at a cool .691. Well, 101 was the number tonight that Alo hit. Home runs in 5 consecutive games. She's starting to put some distance between her and the rest of the field. Lauren Chamberlain, some great Arizona Wildcats behind her. Alo off an outside pitch, in the air to left, and off the scoreboard again. Jocelyn Alo is the 3rd Sooner tonight with a multi-home run game. And the slot machine on the all-time home run leaderboard list rings up to 102.
And 102 is hit off of a changeup that's outside, and Alo's almost slightly fooled on this, but she just continues her bat head. It's like she just slows her swing up just enough and hits it on the sweet spot and just launches it off of the scoreboard. But that's how hard it is to beat Jocelyn Alo. She will pound the ball out on an inside pitch down the left field line, and then the changeup that's a little bit too quick on the outside corner. She still drives that to the left field fence, to the scoreboard. Again, 70% of her home runs go center right, center left.
We'll step aside as Kentucky makes a change.
Likes to live in that lower half of the zone.
And she'll miss low to Tiare Jennings to start her outing. 6 home runs for the Sooners tonight. Elam with 2, Brito with 2, Alo with 2. Ties a season high with 6 homers for Oklahoma. They did it against Iowa a couple of days ago. And the 10th time this season Oklahoma has hit 4 or more home runs in a game. I mean, that last one. If I had asked you to make a list of players who can mishit a changeup with the wind gusting off the scoreboard, Is it a list of one in college
Yeah,
softball?
exactly. You just saw it. It really is incredible. It's all about balance. Their bats stay through the strike zone like long and flat for a very long time. They're not steep angles, and they give themselves the greatest odds of certainty to be able to hit the ball hard.
4-pitch walk to Jennings on base for the 3rd time. Here's that home run from Alo.
So watch her bat path. Watch how long her bat is flat and through the zone. And that's really one of the keys, is that ball can show up at any time, and she's going to be able to strike it hard. And, I've talked with a lot of professional Major League Baseball players. They talk about, like, what's one of the keys to hitting? It's keeping that barrel through that zone, that 3-dimensional zone, as long as possible. So when that ball shows up, you're going to be able to strike it efficiently and stay through it. And that's what this Oklahoma team does so well.
See Jocelyn standing next to JT Gasso, the hitting coach, son of Patty, who could probably stake his claim as the best hitting coach in the country the last couple of years. The way Oklahoma has smashed one record after another. Very scientific in his approach. And Oklahoma is going to send Kinsey Hansen up to pinch hit.
Kinsey Hansen, the usual everyday catcher for Oklahoma, has been battling a knee injury, trying to get her healthy.
First pitch was right near her knee. Thankfully able to get out of the way. Pinch runner, freshman Hannah Core on at first. Hansen, 18 games, 15 starts this year, 9 extra base hits. Slugging at .792. And second team All-American a season ago. Right back to Gahan, and a good pick at second. Nearly threw that one away. Play was made by the second baseman Lane coming over to cover.
This is a really good job of making sure that this ball is actually Koffel comes over from shortstop. She just has quick feet. Erin Koffel going to be able to make that catch. I think what's most amazing, though, Kevin, is that she was able to make the catch, first off, pick it, and then still make the throw over to first.
Right. Just give it a whirl. Such an improved player defensively, Erin Koffel, in her second year at shortstop. Oklahoma will send up Jada Coleman now. A couple of hits on her ledger. This game is in run rule territory. Oklahoma's won 21 of its 25 games by a run rule margin, 8 runs or more after 5 innings. So Kentucky at the moment will need to get a run to extend the game. Have to get out of this top of the inning first as well. Grace Lyons has re-entered at first base to run for Hansen. Keep her off that knee. Coleman flicks one foul.
Coleman and Jennings, last year, 2 of the outstanding freshmen to come in and really do a lot of damage for Oklahoma here. Now in their sophomore campaigns, they have the target on their back. They're still just having great years.
And Coleman is so fast, she beats out a routine slap to short. Her 3rd hit of the night.
Well, they each have different tools. So Coleman is going to be more average, more short game. Jennings has a lot of power, but both of these sophomores just so composed, not allowing the big years they had last year to deter them. No complacency, just getting it done. And Koffel another great sophomore herself. I love that she understands that she's no way going to get Coleman out at first, and we say it a lot, sometimes the best throw is a no throw.
Seen the maturity of Koffel in the field this inning. Making the catch, getting an accurate throw to first on the previous ground ball, not throwing it here. Had some fielding struggles in her freshman year last season.
And that is one area that Kentucky does need to clean up a little bit coming into tonight's game. 31 errors, one of the lower fielding percentages in the SEC, coming in at .954. But that's what they talk about, is fielding efficiency, just really getting themselves in a good position to be able to make plays.
Couple of strikes here in Lindsey Elam. Home runs in her first 2 at-bats. Struck out swinging the last time up. 6 home runs on a windy night for Oklahoma to tie a season high. And Elam with a good take.
I think that's one of the impressive things tonight, is that you really haven't seen Oklahoma chase a lot of pitches out of the zone.
That one's in the zone. That one's punched to Spangler in center field.
Well, Auburn, it's going to be a good series, actually. I'm super excited to see how Auburn faces up against Kentucky. I think that's a good young program. I was talking with Mickey Dean about the team last year, and I had picked them to finish a little bit higher than what they did last year, and I think a lot of people thought, really, Auburn? And now that this team is starting to come back. So, it's typical SEC. It's Kentucky, it's Auburn, it's these great programs that if they were in any other conference, there's a good chance they'd be winning those conferences. Let's look at the SEC in the top 25. LSU, Arkansas also this weekend. I think that's going to be a great showdown in Fayetteville.
You covered for me beautifully there. Thank you for that. Because sometimes when you're doing games from home, the power goes out. Sometimes you just choke on your water. Oh, gosh. Margaret Tobias pitch hitting for Kentucky. And Tobias smacks one foul. You and I, Amanda Scarborough, we will be on site in Fayetteville this weekend. Very excited for that. A couple of ESPN2 games. Then Monday night here on the SEC Network, LSU and Arkansas. Arkansas looked really good, beating Tennessee over the weekend. And LSU, we don't really know what we're going to get from them.
They've looked really strong, and then they've stubbed their toe a little bit, coming off of a weekend where they played Texas and struggled.
Beat Alabama in the series 2 weekends ago, then swept against Texas. We're leading 10-4 in the 6th in that series finale before the Longhorns rallied to win. Jordy Ball working on Tobias. And Tobias smokes one to third, caught on the fly by Johns.
With one out for the Cats, your center fielder, number 4.
Johns has done a good job tonight, playing that hot spot, especially when the ball's coming off of ball very hard. She's going to go down and get that. It's all about positioning. She plays off the line.
Abernathy with a home run her last time, so Kentucky needing a run to stay alive here in the 6th inning. Run rule position. Either way, this is going to be a great learning night for Kentucky. Face the #1 team in the country. You would think will certainly prepare them for the gauntlet that is the SEC once again this year. Have Auburn coming to town this weekend for a 3-game series. Tigers lead the league right now at 5-1. LSU awaits. Arkansas going to be a big series, followed by Missouri in the middle of April. They do miss a couple of the better teams in the league, but still no easy series.
You know, never are easy series in the SEC, and it's weekend in and weekend out. It's like a super regional every weekend, and that's what makes the SEC probably the strongest conference in the country. Obviously, the Big 12 with Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas now starting to play well. And then big picture-wise, how about the Pac-12? UCLA has just been on fire as of late.
I'd feel remiss too if we didn't mention the ACC and the job they've done getting multiple teams into the top 10, into the top 5.
Some of the best pitchers in the country, right? Keely Richard, Catherine Sandercock.
Florida State 3, Virginia Tech 5, Duke number 7 in the country right now. There's a swing and a miss for Abernathy. Strikeout number 11 for the true freshman Ball.
Ball just continues to use that off speed effectively in the low 50s, and then will elevate that rise ball up at your eyes. Long aggressive stride, gets off, and gets low behind that rise ball. When she's underneath of it, can get up in your eyes, and she can take you right up that ladder. 11 strikeouts.
And 1 out to go as Harrison pops one foul, with Oklahoma leading by 8 and more than 5 innings completed. Kentucky needs a run to avoid a run rule loss. One strike away. .25 swings and misses induced by Jordy Ball. No walks. She struck out 11.
Well, she has been efficient. 91 pitches through these 6 innings with the 11 strikeouts. I mean, the lion's share of her strikeout, she's going right at hitter. She's not wasting a pitch at 0-2.
Has not faced a single 3-ball count in this game. This is the 25th hitter that she's seen. 0-2. Strike 3 called. Jordy Ball and Oklahoma continue their perfect ride. They visit Lexington. They play one of the nation's best teams, and they shut them down for a 22nd run rule win in 26 games and a 28th consecutive win dating back to the Champ Series last year.
Oh, this Oklahoma offense showing why they're #1 in the country in batting average, runs scored, home runs. Just a juggernaut of an offense, and Jordy Ball on the circle was just outstanding. That rise ball, explosive at the top of the zone. 12 strikeouts for the freshman, in control from the very first pitch of the game. And Kevin, I love to see too that she even bounced back from a little bit of a rough start with a couple of errors and didn't let it bother her, but able to work out of the inning and secures a big victory here against Kentucky.
Some early adversity, but Ball works through it. This is going to help Kentucky, certainly. A big test for them as the head coaches embrace. Big SEC series for Kentucky coming up with Auburn this weekend, but it's an Oklahoma win 9-1 on a great night for softball in Lexington. We say so long.